Hey guys, hey, in today's topic, we're going to talk about hydration status and the immune system. And so, as we continue to dive in deeper and deeper, last time we talked a little bit about oxygenation in the immune system, right? And so, we're just kind of working our way through. What are the essentials? We need good stimulation. We need good thoughts. We need good oxygen for a good immune system. We also need good water, right? Like we talked about last time. You can live a few weeks without food, a few days without water, a few minutes without oxygen, and almost no time without good stimulation. So we've worked our way through the first couple. We'll probably cycle back around to one or two of those. But in this class, we're going to talk about, like I said, like hydration and how important water is. You know, when we become dehydrated, um, a number of things happen. One of the things that happens is it reduces our ability to signal our immune system to that there's a problem, that we need to come address it for the pathways to work. So when we have a situation where we need the immune system, we send out these chemical messengers, right? Well, when we're dehydrated, some of those messengers don't make it as far away from the call for help as they should. If you hurt your toe, that message has to get all the way through the body to tell the brain and the rest of the body that we have an issue that needs to be addressed, right? And so neurologically we understand that, but from a immune standpoint, it doesn't happen as directly through the nervous system. Um, there are nerve pathways, but where it really happens is in the chemical pathways. And that happens in the fluid, right? And so if we don't have enough fluid, there's nothing that moves it along, right? Like it's a boat in a dry river, right? There's nothing's carrying it, right? And so hydration plays a really big part in that signaling pathway. But also understand that in our body, we have kind of a couple of different circulatory systems. We have our blood circulatory system, pumped by our heart, and that carries the oxygen and nutrients to our body. And then we have the venous system bringing it back to our heart to reoxygenate and add, whatever foods or hormones or what have you into it. And that's really how the immune system travels through the body. But when it gets a signal, a cry for help in an area, the immune cells move out of that system and they move into the interstitial fluid or outside of the circulatory system. And they move into the body and then they take care of whatever they need to take care of. And then they use the lymphatic system, which is a very vast system to take stuff to like the lymph nodes or wherever for it to be further processed, analyzed, produce, antibodies or whatever the case may be. Well, when we are dehydrated, first of all, it does lower our circulatory volume, so less stuff is able to be carried in it. First of all, but it really hits that lymphatic system very hard. And those vessels for the lymphatic system, they can barely be called vessels. It's really just kind of an open area for them to go, but there's certain pathways that they tend to travel. But if there's not enough fluid in that area, they can't, like I said, they just can't get to where they need to go. And so, oftentimes when we talk about immune system, like I said last time, we often overlook the basics, where do we need to start with some basics a lot of times before we start to get fancy with a lot of different things. And so, with dehydration, most people are dehydrated in general. So, as a blanket statement, I would say most, not all, are dehydrated, and a few are overly hydrated. But for the most part, most people are dehydrated, and that's because they drink too much, caffeine, too much coffee. Um, they tend to drink too much alcohol. All these things dehydrate the body, but then they also don't tend to drink enough water. They're drinking sodas, they're drinking teas, which is also dehydrating. And so the tissues themselves start to become dehydrated. From a chiropractic standpoint, we see this all the time in practice. This is a lot of times why people end up with sore muscles. The muscles just can't glide very well. The tissues can't smoothly move past each other because they just don't have enough water to create that lubrication, and so stuff starts to get stuck on itself, and then it starts tugging, and then that creates pain, right? But again, we're really focused on the immune system in this class, but I can't help but to relate it a lot of times to the chiropractic side of the work that we do. And so another thing that does tend to cause a lot of dehydration is excessive salt in the diet. That pulls all of the water out of the system, pulls it into the vascular system, which is why salt tends to increase blood pressure, right? It's pulling it out of the tissues, it's pulling it out of the lymphatic system, and it's putting it into the circulatory system, which we do need, that good volume in the circulatory system. But we need good volume everywhere. We need good water hydration everywhere. Um, and so, kind of as a tip, what most people have kind of agreed upon is that you need about 1 ounce of water or about half your weight in ounces per day. So, for instance, if you weighed 100 pounds, you would need 50 ounces of water per day. If you weighed 200 pounds, you need 100 ounces of water per day, as a kind of as a general rule. Now, you do get some water from foods and things like that, but I really think that should be most people's target. And so, kind of do the math for yourself. Ask yourself, I will figure out what you weigh and then figure out divide by two. And then whatever that number is, that's the number of ounces you should be shooting for. And if you're not hitting that number consistently, that might be the first thing you need to do to improve your immune system. The other thing is if you exercise. When you exercise, you lose a lot of water. If you're sweating, actually, and so you may need even more if you work out very hard. You may need some electrolytes. Stay away from Gatorade. We can get into that another day, but get your water, get your electrolytes, eat healthy. And so I hope you guys got something from this. I know this is basic. Everybody knows they need to drink water. Everybody knows they should drink water, but I'm reminding you in reference to how it impacts the immune system. So hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Stay healthy, stay well.